with people introducing. So we'll start off with Nigel.
Hi, I'm Ed Rose, respectively Paul. I'm Nigel, General Manager at Leicester.
Okay, then we move across to, I'm just going in my screen order, Gary.
Hi there, I'm Gary and I run VGT taxis in Farnham and Fleet in the south of England.
We'll go over to Mike.
Hi, I'm Mike. I General Manager in the City Taxis in Stoke-on-Trent.
Tony.
Hi, I'm Tony.
I'm still looking
all over the UK.
Okay, excellent. Stuart, MT.
Yeah, at TC Cars with 2 young people here.
Hi, Nick. Hi.
And Steve. Hi.
And they're in Birmingham. And then we've got Ashley.
Hello there, I'm Ashley. I'm working from Leicestershire, but all around the country, doing business development on all the new groups coming on board, cost saving and sales and marketing. Hello there.
Hello.
It's a big title. Quimby.
Hi, I'm Quimby, driver manager in Loughborough in Leicestershire.
And that's where I'm sat at the moment. And Justin.
Hi, I work in the accounts department in Loughborough.
Okay. Right, that's everyone. I'm going to mute myself and get feedback, and I'll hand it over to you, Mary. Oh, we're just letting in Peter from Plymouth. So Peter heads up our Plymouth operation. Morning, Peter.
Morning, David.
I've just, if you just want to introduce yourself to Mary, and then Mary's going to take over hosting.
And 1 second. All right. Hey, good morning, Mary. My name's Peter Breslin from Tower Cabs in Plymouth, or the Take Me Group in Plymouth. Yeah, looking forward to hearing what you got to say.
Brilliant. Okay, so shall I take it from here, David? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to hang on, just get rid of all the Zoom stuff. Going to take you through a PowerPoint, if I may, and introduce ourselves at the same time. Okay, so my name's Mary Rose Terry. I am the chair of RAD, which stands for Recovery Assistance Dogs. We're quite a unique charity, and I just wanted to tell you a little bit about us, about the people, the handlers, the dogs, and also the law, where it comes to taxis and private hire. So without further ado, I got on. So we're a mental health charity, and we train RAD's members as assistance dogs handlers. So we're a registered charity in England and Wales, and we transform the lives of people living with mental health conditions, and they train their own dogs as assistance dogs. And this is where I'll talk to you later about the types of dogs that they are, but you get a general gist here. It's their own dogs that we train. We're the only UK charity that offers members a journey of specialised handler and assistance dog training. They get charged £2 a week because we're a charity, and we want to make sure that disabled people have got the things that they need. So how do we work? So for people to join RAD, and this is interesting for you guys, because they have to prove to us that they've got a long-term mental health impairment, and that qualifies them as disabled under English law. So there are 3 or 4 different ways and means of being disabled, but mental health is one of them. The members also have to have their own dogs to train with. We don't breed dogs. We don't supply dogs for members either. So if a member has no dog, or if somebody approaches us who's got a mental health condition, we advise them to go to rescue first to get a dog if they haven't got their own. Sorry, did somebody want to speak then? Okay, right. So we've all got mental health. I just tell you a little bit about mental health. If you've got good mental health, you recognise the good in yourself, positive attributes and achievements you've made. You can feel and express a huge range of emotions. You feel engaged with the world around you, live and work productively, and you cope with the stresses of everyday life, which we all have, and you manage times of change and uncertainty. Sorry, the background noise of my dogs that are going to join in the garden. So just quick quiz, take you through. So how many people in the UK do you think will experience a mental health problem every year?
1 in 8.
1 in 2.
1 in 4.
Okay, correct answer is 1 in 4. So that's phenomenal, isn't it? You think about how many people in the UK, 1 in 4 will experience some kind of poor mental health in a year. What proportion of people with mental health problems do you think they believe that work stresses contributed to their illness?
1 in 3.
2 in 3.
2 in 3.
Okay, it's actually 1 in 3 people say that the work stresses contribute towards their mental health illness. And just this is just a general knowledge question now. So which country's prime minister was re-elected in 2001 after publicly taking time off for depression?
Norway, I guess.
It is Norway, yeah. So just, you know, nobody is immune from mental health or poor mental health. It can affect all of us, and it has done me as well in my life. So good mental health then means generally able to think, feel, react in the ways that you need to and want to in your life. If you go through a period of poor mental health, you find those ways become rather difficult. Reacting becomes more difficult and sometimes even impossible for people to cope with. And it can be just as bad as a physical illness. In fact, it can cause physical illnesses too. So that's from our friend's Mind. Okay, last one on mental health. Mental health, or mental well-being describes your mental state, how you're feeling, how well you can cope with day to day. But our mental health dynamic, you know, it can change from moment to moment. So we could have dips and troughs in our day to day, month to month, year to year. If you have a catastrophic event in your life, it can create poor mental health with you. So none of us are immune from this. It will affect all of us, I think, sometime at a point in your lives. So understanding of mental health is really important. So let me introduce Red to you, our assistance dogs. Okay, so what we do is we train the handler and the dog. So we train the handler to train their own dog. So, and why? Because the handlers who are RAD members, and I'm only talking about RAD members here, they've got to work with their dogs every day. So it's imperative, it's very important that that relationship is a strong one and that the assistance dog listens and reacts to their owner handler. So this little girl you can see on here is an assistance dog. That's a Japanese Chin. And it's Daisy May. And she's actually just won a PDSA award for helping her mum live her life safely and has saved her life too. She pulled her owner away from the front of a bus in which she had tried to throw herself under. This little tiny dog was able to do that. So they're amazing, amazing things. So how long does it take to train? 4 courses, which we run. Each course has 10 sessions. Every course is accredited by RAD. The last course accredits the handler and their assistance dog to be a full public access trained. A guesstimate for how long, and it depends on the dog and the handler, is between 12 and 18 months to have a fully trained dog who then just comes back for pressures. However, and this is the big however, the assistance dogs are allowed in public places before the final course, and that's the Equalities Act 2010. So there's no, oh no, this dog's in training, so it can't do this. It won't ever get to its final course if it doesn't practice on the way. So right from day one, and it's registered and it begins its training. And it's the basic training. This is what the Equal Ops talk about when they say a well-trained dog. It needs to sit, stay, the basic things that you would teach a dog to do. The specialisms are something else, and that's what we train them to do. So how do they help them with mental health issues? So the dogs mitigate the owner handler's problems. Some examples of them: anxiety, depression, eating problems, schizophrenia, phobias, obsessive compulsive disorder, bipolar disorder, personality disorders, and PTSD. I'm sure you've all seen the veterans' dogs who look after them for their PTSD. So they're physical signs that the owner shows of their mental health. So they come out in a physical vision. It's growing. Mental health impairment is a growing pandemic. Our membership is growing by around about 5%, and that's a very conservative number that I'm giving you most weeks. We've got more teenagers contacting RAD now. I don't think the pandemic's helped. I think lockdown, problems with school, all sorts of issues, families that are locked in a house together, not being able to get out if there's been an abusive person in that house, has reduced these people to mental health issues. RAD are working across the UK. I like your strapline actually on ADT, because you say, you know, working to create the UK's largest taxi thing. We're working to create the UK's largest assistance dog charity, where we know these dogs are trained and we can verify them when they're out and about. We've got volunteer dog trainers in most parts of the UK. And in fact, the charity is run by volunteers. I've got one employee only, and that's the dog training manager. So that's the only employee we've got. The rest of us are volunteers. We don't claim expenses, nothing. We're completely free. We also educate the public about the invisible illness. We do podcasts, videos, personal support, and we are working on more educational issues. This, for me today, is lovely to be able to talk to people who are likely to come across our people and other people who've got assistance dogs, and be able to tell you how they're feeling, what the dogs do, and also the law that covers you. Okay, this is Kaylee. Kaylee's got complex mental health problems, and Transport for London staff's told a story for us all to know, and I think it's quite poignant. And if it will play on here, fingers crossed, it's about 3 or 4 minutes long.
My name is Kaylee.
In my life, I've had many highs and many lows.
I've experienced triumphs and I've experienced failures.
I've experienced happiness and I've experienced sadness.
I felt so strong and I felt incredibly weak.
I have felt complete determination and I have lost all motivation.
I felt brave and I felt the desperation of giving in.
I've worked on finding the real me and I've lost myself. I have felt comforting calmness and I have felt so much fear that I couldn't move. I have experienced life at polar opposites over and over again. Stability isn't a word that exists in my life. I have no idea how it feels to be balanced.
I spent a long time wandering around in the dark, searching for a light switch. But again and again, I just fell into complete blindness. However, I am so glad I didn't give up.
As a special little gem came into my life. He has 4 legs and a healthy coat of fur. This little gem I'm talking about is my very own recovery assistance dog, Rolo.
He's ever so gentle and hasn't got an aggressive bone in his body.
He's small but holds the biggest heart.
He gives me strength while also being gentle.
He helps me to keep the scales balanced with as much stability as possible.
He is strong and perseveres with my struggles, helped me to find out what part of me goes where. With Rolo's help, I'm beginning to see who I really am. I'm so glad I didn't give up, because every time I hit an all-time low, I consistently felt a tap on my leg just at the right time too. It's my hero, Rolo. He found me and I found him.
It's true that dogs have a way of finding the people who need them.
He has become my torch, my way through.
He acts as a comforting and close guide, showing me how to manage the suffocating, debilitating world of darkness.
The sparkles returned in my eyes, and I trust him to show me the things that are important to me.
He's extremely brave, comforting, and a strong, wonderful teacher. I trust him fully and he's ever so loyal.
I'm learning that there's some things that I can cherish and hold on to, but there's also some things that I have to let go.
If you're struggling and fighting against the storm, I hear you. And I know it's far from easy. I know it's a major battle, and I'm so sorry you're having to deal with this.
But I want to reassure you that you aren't alone.
You always have positive ways out. This is in the end, never lose hope. You are strong, brave, and courageous.
Just like Rolo teaches me, there's a Rolo out there to teach you.
If I can do it, I know you can too.
Okay, thank you very much for your patience while you're watching that. I hope that's got some kind of feeling over to you about what these people go through. That lady in that video, who the video was about, is actually committed because, and she's in a secure mental health hospital because she keeps trying to kill herself. So, and those volunteers that you saw from TfL, they face suicides on a daily basis. Every day on the underground, somebody tries to throw themselves under a train. So they see this all the while. You know, we obviously thank them very much for repeating that story for us. Okay, so this is the bit that I think you will find extremely interesting. And this is the law that you have a duty of care to perform to. So it's the law on disabled persons with their assistance dog. So it's under the Equality Act 2010. It protects disabled persons with their assistance dogs from being discriminated against. So that means that the assistance dog is an aid. It's like a wheelchair. But because these people haven't got an arm or a leg missing, they look quite normal, you know, and it's like the invisible illness. So not all wounds are visible. I've got a guide. In fact, I've got two guides that I'm going to send to you with this video so that you can see that. And they're from the Human Rights and Equality Commission. So you will see the guides and they do outline your duty of care in it. But I've taken some things off of it. Let me just tell you about the assistance dogs, though, that we deal with. We don't discriminate against any breed. So they're all breeds, all sizes, all ages, all colours. So they're not Labradors. They're not golden Labradors, they're not guide dogs, they're assistance dogs. And we've got everything that we train from a Chihuahua to a Great Dane and everything in between. We have Staffordshire Bull Terriers, we have Bull Mastiffs, we have Collies, we do have some Labradors as well, but they're all, because they're their handler's own dogs, they're going to be their breed of dog. So you cannot distinguish an assistance dog by its breed or its size. But you can do, they've got one thing in common. They're all trained to specific standards. So their behavior is expected to be very good. So they're not going to be a pet dog that's all over the place. This dog is trained to be with this person. It's trained to exit and access vehicles. It's trained to how it acts within the vehicle. So it's very well trained. So that's the common denominator in them, but you won't be able to judge that by sight. Okay, and they're all protected in law, every one of them. So, and that's a very important part of this message that we're trying to give you here. RAD assistance dogs have got RAD IDs and RAD dog vests, and you'll see one of those in a minute on the dog that we're going to look at in a few minutes. So on the back of this ID is our contact. It's got our number on, and if anybody has any doubt about the person who's carrying this, you can ring us. We've got a central database and we've got all of our members are listed on the database, including their dog, colour, everything, and we can verify it's that person and we can verify the law that they are under. So that's there for your thing. It just clicks out of the holder and all that information's on the back of that badge. Okay, the other thing about it, just to add, I mean, there are lots of assistance dogs that don't belong to RAD. So, you know, you're going to find some different equipment or different badges from other people. So I can't verify them, obviously. I can only verify RADs, but there will be different versions that you will see. There should be somewhere to check for them. However, I'll come on to that again as well in a minute. So when we look at taxis, private hire and assistance dogs, so they not only help blind people, but they are trained to help people with hearing difficulties, epilepsy, diabetes, physical mobility problems, mental health, and more. So there's a whole gambit of different issues where an assistance dog is there to help that person to mitigate those symptoms. So further on from that, assistance dogs carry out a variety of practical tasks for people, as well as supporting their independence and confidence. We have got members who cannot go out the door without their dog. They would not be able to go out of their home without the dog with them. That's how much they're an assistant aid, just like that wheelchair. They cannot move without that dog. And then finally, they're not pets, they're auxiliary aids. So that's a very, again, an important part of this, is that they are there to mitigate the symptoms of that person. Okay, so the Equal Ops Act regulation. So disabled people and those with reduced mobility self-identify as needing assistance. So this is where some people find this problematic, because if I was to say, well, I need assistance now to get down the stairs, I've self-identified that I need to do that. The ramifications of that said I don't need a doctor's letter to self-identify with that. So this is where this comes a little bit unstuck, but it's covered in law. There is no requirement for people that require assistance to prove they have a disability. There's no requirement in law for them to do that. And this is why we provide our people with the badges and the IDs to make life easier for them, because they do get discriminated against quite often. So that's why we provide the badges and stuff, but not every person will have one. Okay, it will be unlawful to refuse access to a disabled person accompanied by an assistance dog, except in the most exceptional circumstances. So those exceptional circumstances are outlined in the guide that I'm going to send you, and they're very, very hard to say. You can't say that anybody's allergic to dogs. You can't say dogs are dirty, because actually dogs are cleaner than humans. And that's a scientific fact. There's all sorts of things you can't say that are exceptional circumstances. So you need to check out that guide that I send you to do that. But a refusal is, it will be an issue for you. So if it's a RAD member that happens to, and this is why I'm talking to you today, because this is what happened to one of our RAD members with an ADT taxi, we take up their case for them. So what we do is we write to wherever it happened, we get the date, the time, place, as much information as we can. We point out the law and we point out the incident. Most companies, and up to date, the ones I've spoken to have been Lidl, Uber, cabs, B&M stores. There's a whole list of Tesco's. There's a whole list of stores that we've spoken to. Their reaction is very good. To be fair, they come back to us because they realise the ramifications of this. Because in the letter that they get, it does state on there that if I don't receive a response or receive a response from them, that it will be passed on to the Human Rights and Equality Commission. And I'll tell you about what they do in a minute. So if it's proved that a disabled dog, person and their assistant are discriminated against, then the complaint can be sent to the Equality and Human Rights Commission. So I would think most of you have got cameras, CCTV inside your cabs and stuff like this. So this is what we're asked to see as well if a discrimination is perpetrated, and we asked to see that as well. And stores have got them everywhere, so they can just spot it at the time and the date, and they see it happening. So I know in the black cabs they've got cameras and stuff in there. I don't know about your guys. And I just take you to that picture, if I may. So you know what disabilities look like. There they all are. You know, wheelchairs, walking sticks, all sorts of things. You can physically see somebody staggering, somebody without a leg, somebody without an arm. And our people generally look like that one on the bottom. They look quite all right. There's nothing missing off them generally. And this is where you need to be careful. Okay, so there's 4 types of discrimination. There's direct discrimination, indirect discrimination, harassment, and victimization. So there, any one or many of them can be levied against you if you discriminate against an assistance dog and its handler. So fines and compensatory penalties. So the Equalities and Human Rights Commission can enforce the law. So that's what they can do. And they can get the police involved as well, because it's a criminal law. Their powers include helping individuals with their legal cases and taking legal action against organisations that appear to have broken the law. So that person that's discriminated against doesn't have to pay for this. It's the commission that actually pays for these high-class lawyers, etc., take it through. And I think this is the most alarming thing for anybody that deals with disabled people and assistance dogs. There is no limit on the amount of compensation that can be awarded in discrimination cases. So that I would find that quite scary, actually, to think there's going to be a massive compensation. And, you know, if a disabled person could prove that the rest of their lives have been damaged by that action, who knows how much that would be. Okay, so how do RAD owners operate with their dogs? So we've got Kay on here, who's sitting patiently waiting with her dog, and she's going to explain the reality of working with a dog in taxis and the issues that she and her dog faces. So if that's okay with you, I'm going to hand over to Kaylee just to talk and show you, if that's okay.
Hello,
okay,
Kaylee.
over to you, Kaylee.
So this is my assistant dog. My assistant dog is Toby. We tend to use black cabs because them having a floor, so we tend to interfere with the driver's seats. We've not been in a private cab at the moment, so I've not had any issues myself. But like I said, lots of people have issues with some private hire companies. Uber's very funny with some assistance dogs if they don't look a certain way. I do struggle if the taxi driver is a bit aloof, I think you call it, so they're like confrontational. I've not had it directly, but they've sort of been very quiet with me in the taxi, and they constantly look over into the back rear view mirror. But Toby's perfectly fine. He'll jump in the taxi, he'll lie down straight on the floor, and he's got no issues. He's perfectly fine. He helps me if he'll block any form of person in between me. So he'll provide a barrier if I need it to help ease me and make sure I feel better. So I find black cabs easier for myself rather than a Uber, because there's more of a space between me and the person. He will pick up on certain things if he needs to be blocked. Obviously, during Mary talking, he's been doing a few tasks because he spotted me being anxious during the thing. But yeah, he's fantastic. I don't struggle a lot anymore because I have Toby, and he just helps so much. I don't think I would be able to go many places without him. He does tasks like he's sniffing around at the minute. Toby, you gonna go in there? Oh, good boy. So this is the task that would normally be performed if I was in a black cab. I'd sit forward a bit on the seat so he can get right in between my legs, and then usually he would either lie down or stay seated, depending. He's very good at noticing certain anxious behaviours like scratching and pulling at clothes. He will instantly distract me. Toby, you're gonna face me. Come here. He's in leg mode at the minute. He gets distracted easily. He's still in training. But if there we go. Good boy. So that's one of his techniques that he does because I'm a bit anxious. I will scratch. I will play with hands, which he's already on board with it anyway, because he knows what to look for. And he's really persistent, and he won't stop until I stop. Good boy. But yeah, he's amazing. I don't know what I'd do without him. I don't know what else to say.
Kaylee, can I just ask, how does he react to the taxi drivers? Does he acknowledge the taxi driver at all? Does he pay any attention?
He doesn't really, no. He's more focused on myself, so he won't bother a taxi driver at all. He's just looking to see if I'm okay. So he'll know that there's a taxi driver there, but he won't pay attention to them at all. He's just focused on me 100%.
Okay. What about a lead? Do you take a lead with you to secure him?
Yes, so I have my own makeshift halter because I can't afford to get the proper ones at the minute. So I've got like a belt that I put around my waist, and then I hook his lead onto him and make a loop so that he's attached to my waist. And then that's how he stays close to me, and then he's not going to go anywhere in the taxi other than by my feet, basically.
Okay, and does he go onto the seats of the taxi?
Not unless it's a private hire, which we've not been in. So we only go in the black cabs. So he just lies on the floor. He doesn't go on the seats.
Okay, that's brilliant. Do any of you guys want to ask Kaylee anything while she's available? No, you okay? All right. Thank you so much, Kaylee.
You're welcome.
Okay, I mean, that's just a few of the issues. Some people have anxiety attacks, the traffic, going past it, a cab if a cab goes too quick, if it has to brake, all those things that you deal with on an everyday basis in your cab can trigger an anxiety attack in somebody who has got that kind of mental health or poor mental health. So, and that's what the dog will deal with straight away. And also, a lot of these guys don't drive, so they rely on taxis, public transport to get around everywhere. So, so there's a big reliance on you to provide them a service, really. Okay. Again, oops, sorry, I'll just go back to that that slide. Sorry, a bit quick-fingered there, wasn't I? These are just some of our dogs. The one that we were trained to wear the mask properly was quite funny. So do you have any questions at all for either myself or Kaylee that we can discuss further or research for you or find out, or anything that we can help you with at all?
It's just a matter of, letting this has been recorded and it will be sent to our drivers around the country. It's just a matter of, you've hit the key points, and I think it's a fantastic service what you do. So well done, and long may it continue onwards and upwards. So it's just helping and making sure that people know, about this. So you're doing the best thing ever by doing this, and we can spread the word. So yeah, well done.
Brilliant, thank you very much. And if ever you, I mean, I know your boss is not here at the minute because he's gone off to have his hair cut, but if you can get, if he's got, if he has any spare cash anytime, AD Taxis can always sponsor Rad. Yeah, what a feather in that cap it would be to actually sponsor assistance dogs who get discriminated and a lot of other places. So you can put it down when you have your monthly meters. You can put it down as a suggestion.
Can I ask what type of discrimination have your members experienced using private hire taxis?
Oh, all sorts. The one
what's the most common?
Yeah, I talk about this one because this is probably one of the most common ones, and that's where they've called the taxi, they've called the private hire. The taxi's arrived, the member's gone to get in with their assistance dog, and then the driver said, not bringing that dog in here, not having that dog in here. And then they say, it's an assistance dog, here's my badge. We've had all sorts of, the one that started this off, the guy said, I can tell a pet dog from a guide dog, and I only have guide dogs in here, which is wrong. So that's what started off this complaint. But we've had all sorts of things. I could have made that badge at home. You name it. Yeah, they're the sort of things. And I think a lot of it is just the dislike of having a dog in the cab. If I can just show you something, we're just about to, this is not going to be very good, but if you can just see this, we're just about to get these out to our members. So they're little fleece mats. So to take with them for that very purpose, to put down on seats, and they've got our logo on, and assistance dogs do not disturb. So, you know, if anybody's bothered about the seats in their cab from dog hair or whatever, then this is going to be the solution to that in covering that seat, as we all do. You know, our pet dogs do exactly the same. We cover our seats with covers, so that they'll be able to carry that around with them, so they can put it down.
That's fantastic that they carry the max. That's one of our solutions when we have trouble with, you know, when drivers have perhaps refused to take a guide dog and they know it's against the law. You know, we do sort of speak to our regular customers that we use, you know, that need assistance. We try, because obviously with that in our borough in Stoke, because I don't know if your members tell the operator when they're booking that they've got an assistance dog, or do they feel the need to, or don't they do that, or?
Interesting question, actually. Kaylee, can you answer that question? So when you book a taxi, do you actually state you've got an assistance dog with you?
Yeah, I do. So I will say that I have an assistance dog. That's why I asked for a black taxi rather than a car.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a mat to put down in a private hire car. So the black cab's better. But sometimes they do cost a bit more, which is the only downside. But it's better for me, and Toby will just jump straight in it. He has no qualms. He loves going for rides in taxis and cars. The only problem is when we go on a bus, he likes to sit on the seats and look out of the window, but because he loves being nosy.
We had a discussion with our licensing body to do with assistance dogs and guide dogs, how we can erase any issues that do crop up with our regular customers, because obviously some drivers, you know, they really don't want to pick any dog up, even though they know it's against the law not to pick a guide. And we tend to sort of I sort of said, well, you know, if they tell us that they've got an assistance dog, or the operator in the booking, we could perhaps filter, and our licensing body was sort of really dead set against that. That's against the law. You shouldn't be filtering. It should be anybody. But we found if we can filter, and it doesn't prolong the time we can get a private hire to the customer. It just means that when the driver is there, we know that driver has no issues whatsoever. And I know we're sort of filtering, but we don't want to have the customer at that end having this awkwardness where the driver isn't perhaps as nice as he should be, or it's obvious that you want to take the dog. And we find that worked, but we were sort of told that that's against the law also, but we found that did work for the customer, because every time we knew when we sent a driver in a vehicle and we were picking up an assistance dog, that there wasn't going to be an issue for the customer, and the journey was going to go fine. And that's how we sort of overcame these little issues when people were awkward or complained.
And quite right, your licensing authority was exactly right. It is against the law. However, what I can do, because that's interesting information, so what I can do is I can send out on all our social media sites and send out to our members to say, if you're booking a taxi, remember to tell them you've got an assistance dog with you.
No, because the last thing the customer wants is
anything else. That's all I need to say, isn't it?
Yeah, because the last thing the customer wants is any issues on to get to where they're going, like anybody does. So you know, we find that really helps. And if you've got carrying these mats, if they've got that, you know, we can pass that on to the drivers. That's sometimes an issue while the dog gets hair on the seat. So while they got a little mat with them or a blanket, that tends to sort of erase, you know, some fears for the driver.
Yeah. No,
I got a blanket. I got a blanket in the boot of my car specifically for it.
Yeah.
That's a blanket that I keep in the boot of my car.
Yeah.
That's not for that, Gary.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And I think, again...
And if I get caught out in the snow, I can...
Yes. Break down anyway. Get good in your blanket. Yeah, and we do the same for our pet dogs. You know, we've got blankets that we put on the seats, so we understand, especially if you've got fabric seats, those got your hair shrunk, David.
So his head's got bigger.
His head's got bigger.
So yeah, we've got fabric seats, you know, and I have staffies. So the little tiny hairs turn your seats into mohair at some point. So you know, like every car driver who's got a dog, we put a blanket down or they go in the boot and in a special mat on the boot. Not in the boot. I meant in the in the hatch. I don't ship my dogs in the boot of a car. But that's a good point. So I will send that little message out to all our members, is that when they're booking a cab, is to say, I'm a disabled person with an assistance dog. But what I don't want to do is have that so that the taxi says, oh, I haven't got a taxi. So that could have that's a double-edged coin, isn't it, really?
Yeah, well, that's more, you know, when obviously we can get a complaint from, we might have a 200 driver fleet, and we can't, you know, if we were the driver of every single journey, there would be no discrimination, no complaints, no issues. But unfortunately, we can't. So, you know, a reputable company like ourselves, one bad driver or one bad decision by a driver, and the company, it's the company name, not the driver's name.
Yes, absolutely.
That gets the bad mark, you know. So it is about
and the compensation claim,
exactly, you know, it doesn't really, it's not the driver that gets all the bad press and the fines and all that. So it is about the company filtering and making sure that, you know, they're sending the right driver to the right job.
Do you when somebody rings in to book a taxi or a cab with you, then do you record those calls? Are they recorded?
Yes, all the calls are recorded,
So if anybody was discriminating by saying, you know, somebody rang and said, I'm a disabled person with an assistance dog, and they said, oh, we haven't got any cabs. Sorry.
to be fair, like companies like myself would look at, because we do know that happens. You know, and that's why, like, we've got quite a large customer base of people using assistance dogs and guide dogs, because we know that other companies are saying, sorry, we're fully booked, when they know they've got a dog with them. You know, and we do know that. So if that was the case where the actual company was turning down, and they you know, it's the company's, not the driver, then we would applaud that.
Yeah, good. So I could just send that out as a recommendation, but not as a rule of thumb, because I can't do that. I mean, some of our people that have been discriminated against, and this is just awful, but that they then go on and try and commit suicide. They have such a terrible panic attack about it, because they're not treated as whatever normal is, but they're not treated as everybody else is. And you know, we've had that issue where they'll hurt themselves, they get stunning knives out and slash themselves because they don't feel worthy. It has a terrible effect on that person, you know, as well, but which we see very often, and it's terrible, really. It's an awful thing.
Would the dogs always have the assistance vests on?
They should have, but because we sell them, we have a lot of members that can't afford them, and they're quite expensive. They're about £40 for the vests. We do sponsor some of them who are suffering a very bad hardship, and we do provide for some of them, but we can't afford to provide for all of ours people, I'm afraid. A lot of people have them and buy them, and the badges are a lot cheaper. So and we don't make any money off them. They're just direct from manufacturers, you know. But we knew we had to do professional vests and professional badges, that we couldn't cut corners and provide them with a freebie, which was terrible, because everybody was so, well, where have you got this from, you know? So they are professional badges and professional vests. So we do try and encourage everybody to get a vest, but we can't force them to get one. But they should. I think nearly everybody's got a badge. I think nearly all of our members have got badges. So I don't think there's many without them.
The only other question I had was the legal. I know that, you know, with child seats, for example, taxis are exempt. That if you haven't got one, you can't be expected to carry one. Is the same true with dogs? Because they brought out a law that said you've got to secure your dog in a car via a special harness. So are we okay not securing them?
The owner should have their own lead with them. So they'll either attach the dog to themselves, as Kaylee explained to you. So it's either on a waist lead, so they're actually attached to their handler, or it's got a little seatbelt end on, and it clicks into the seatbelt, and then it goes onto the dog's harness. So they should all carry them, because it is, you're quite right, it is illegal to carry a dog that's not adhered or secured in a car. And it's about, I think it's up to about £5,000 fine.
I thought that was exempt in a taxi. I thought that was just.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering whether it was exempt in a taxi as well. I've not seen the law.
But I'm sure
Yeah.
it was.
I don't know, and I'll find that out for you actually and let you know.
See, what we found is driver ignorance, which I don't know about in other parts of the country, licensing. So we go through the test and it mentions about assistance dogs, but it kind of stops there. And like you said earlier, if it's not a Labrador with a blind person on the end of it, no, that's a pet, mate.
Yeah.
It's ignorance on the drivers. This is why we wanted something like this. And this is what's happened with our customer. That's how we got contacted through yourselves.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's a pet, mate. I ain't certain that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He could have lost his license over it. And, all right, it's their own ignorance, but this is where we want to educate them. Same with the councils. We want to educate the councils. I've spoken to a couple of them, and they're interested in looking at what we're doing.
Yeah. No, I agree.
You take your bag, you do your test, there's a section on it which explains, like you say, any breed, any size, any colour.
Yeah.
It might be worth, I'll just say, it might be worth sending this recorded video across to the councils.
Yeah. I've actually worked with, I actually worked with Loughborough, Charnwood, Charnwood something or other.
Oh, you poor thing.
And I did do a presentation to them about assistant dogs and what they're doing. So they are, I think it's south of Loughborough, isn't it, the Charnwood? I'm not quite sure who it was, but they were dealing with mental health and stuff, and there were a lot of council people on that. So I did do a presentation about assistant dogs and their rights, etc., on the law.
Well, we can put you in touch with the other licensing authorities.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Yeah, please do. That would be great. Yeah, we're very happy to educate people because it makes my life easier. Then I don't have to face another discrimination every day, which I'm trying to educate the member and make sure they're okay, and then also having to write letters all the time and go through that horrible process. So yeah, make my life much easier if everybody's aware. We are going to have a new website soon. It's going to be revamped in July, and it will have, which we'll send out to all of our contacts. We're going to have a page on there about the law that anybody can click on, and it will give the whole thing in layman's terms of what it is. So we've got, that will be done in July. So that hopefully will be helpful as an educational tool to just everybody. Anybody can have the link then to click on it and have a look at that.
Fantastic.
So that's in our plans.
Excellent, Mary. It's I was listening whilst I was having my hair cut, and even the hairdresser learned about assistant dogs. So
good.
That's good. This has been recorded, and as Ash pointed out earlier, it will be sent to drivers. It will also be posted on our social media, which is aimed at the taxi trade in general. So they'll be able to do it. But no, I certainly learned a few things, and I hope everyone else found it quite useful. Brilliant. I did hear the word sponsorship. So
we thought he wasn't listening, didn't we?
No, I was listening. I was actually on the call at that point, but you probably didn't recognise me because I've had my hair cut. But
it's those of your shoes we didn't recognise.
But yeah, by all means, send Nigel some details on that, and he'll pass it.
Yeah, so,
brilliant. So, has anyone got any further questions?
No, just say thank you. It's great. We've learned a lot today, and you always think you know what's what, but obviously you never stop learning. So thank you. Yeah, and I think everyone will say, it's great to chat and perhaps have a chat every 12 months for a catch up, because I know the law changes within, the realms and bits are added here and there. So yeah, keep on the trail.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you guys for taking the time to listen to us today. And our members will be very pleased that this message is going forward and makes their lives a lot easier.
Yeah. Mary, there's one idea I've just had. There's a very large trade show in Milton Keynes at the end of this month.
Yeah.
Which we have a stand at.
Yeah.
By all means, if you or one of your members want to come along for one of those days and bring bring one of the dogs, you can always, because it is actually
Brilliant.
taxi owners that turn up to the trade.
Yeah.
So again, Nigel can feed you some details on that.
Yeah, fine, brilliant. I'll get in touch with you, Nigel, if you get me the dates and stuff. And then, it's not too far away, Milton Keynes.
That'll be very good, yeah.
Yeah, it's at the Super Bowl, is it? The big exhibition place there with the.
Yeah. I think I know where it is. Yeah. Oh, excellent. Yeah, we'd be happy to come and support you and get the word out a bit further. Yeah, be very good.
Brilliant.
Excellent.
Excellent. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
If ever my car breaks down, I'll be seeing you in a cab soon.
We'll be seeing you.
And if you've got any literature to bring to Milton Keynes as well, please bring it. The more the merrier.
Yeah, you can put it on the stand.
Yeah, if we bring dogs down that do demonstrations, etc. We've just done that recently for a local organisation, and everybody was so taken aback by what this little tiny dog could do. They've never seen anything like it before in their lives. So they're amazing. Absolutely amazing.
You'll just have to make sure Ashley doesn't pinch them. Put them in the baby's car.
We can record it as well and put it on our social media, which
absolutely,
well.
Put it on your website. And we're doing the same. And this is the nice thing about the website being revamped in July, because we could put you down there as a contact then on there to say you are assistance dog aware. That our members would see that and be more inclined to call you. And we've got members throughout the UK and Scotland, Wales, Ireland. So our members would see that and see you as then as a preferred supplier.
Yeah.
So that would be something, Nigel, we can chat about. Yeah. And
just don't. I was sharing a screen earlier. Just don't Google ADT and guide dogs. We had a bad experience a few years ago. Where a driver refused a guide dog in this instance. It was recorded by a partially sighted guy, and it went on social media. It literally went viral across the UK, and we were #1 news on the Mail Online. So it caused us such negative feedback.
Got death threats.
Oh dear. And that's what, this is one of the things we recommend our members to do. We say, if you get in an instance, get your phone out and video it straight away, because there's your proof that you're being discriminated against. So that is something we tell our members to do, because a lot of them can't speak for themselves. They haven't got that mental ability or agility to be able to argue. They just, they hit a brick wall, or they go the other way, and then you've got something on your hands.
Yeah, I don't like confrontation. If I get it, I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I sort of panic a lot. I don't like it at all.
No, so
you shouldn't be put in that position, though, should you? You should never be put in that position.
No. Well, since I've been chair of this charity, I've learned so much about mental health, how assistance dogs work, and how brilliant they are. As a dog behaviourist, I do that anyway, but these dogs are just something else. They really are. They're so impressive.
You sound like you enjoy your work, Mary.
Oh God, yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, amazing. When you see people like Kaylee, who's achieved so much in the last year with her dog, that's improved her mental health so much to where she can go out. So they're my dogs in the background. These dog behaviourists where they're all barking. I think the postman's here and I want to kill him. Right, I'll let you all go. Get on with your jobs then. Thank you so much.
All right then, thank you so much.
Absolutely brilliant. Take care.
Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye.